If there's one thing that has been evident and consistent on how Bitcoin has been moving over the past decade or so, it's been following the halving cycle. And if you follow the halving cycle, one of the reasons why Bitcoin normally moves up after each halving cycle is mainly because the amount of Bitcoin that gets mined every time there's a halving cycle gets split by half. Hey guys, so by the time I'm making this video, we're seeing short movements upward for the entire cryptocurrency market, and in the same way also we are also seeing the stock market up, and a lot of people have different opinions on why this is up for the short term. But allow me to tell you also specifically that you need to look at the range and you need to look at the trend first before there's any legitimate signs of reversal for your favorite stock or for your favorite crypto. Now, that being said, I want to say this and I want to pinpoint this. A lot of people over the past few days, weeks, and months also have been pretty anxious. There's a lot of anxiety from their end on where the crypto market is going or when will this crypto winter end. And I'll say this, no one has a crystal ball on how this will play out. I've also said this in so many videos that everything is underpinned on inflation and the US hiking up interest rates, because that ultimately affects the stock market and the crypto market. If there's one thing that has been evident and consistent on how Bitcoin has been moving over the past decade or so, it's been following the halving cycle. And if you follow the halving cycle, one of the reasons why Bitcoin normally moves up after each halving cycle is mainly because the amount of Bitcoin that gets mined every time there's a halving cycle gets split by half. And if you follow the narrative also of how things were over the past few years, notice it that there was a pump in 2017 that allowed Bitcoin and the entire crypto market as a whole to push higher. That was the first time we saw Bitcoin go somewhere around 19,000 and 20,000, and that's where also we had the ICO boom happen, where you saw a lot of altcoins push and a lot of them also got demolished. If you follow the narrative also from last year, we saw the entire space move up massively. The market cap was around 3 trillion, and we also saw Bitcoin hit an all-time high of around 69,000 US dollars per BTC. We saw a lot of L1 chains start to push up. We saw DeFi. There was DeFi summer also, where a lot of those DeFi protocols, tokens pushed up. And then last year, which brought a lot of people in the crypto and NFT space, we saw GameFi and blockchain gaming push everything higher. And now also, while all of that is happening, a lot of those DeFi projects, a lot of L1 projects, and a lot of those blockchain GameFi projects are all massively down. And if you look at it, it's similar to how it was also after the previous halving cycle also, where we saw Bitcoin go to its all-time high. We saw a lot of those ICO related tokens push up, then ultimately Bitcoin drop and all of those ICO tokens also crashed. And fast forward to where we are now, it were the projects that did really well, that had substance, that had utility, that people were dedicated to push when it was bear. Once everything started to recover, they were the ones that pushed up again. But above and beyond them pushing up again, they were the ones that had some sort of staying power. So I think that's what's fascinating about the crypto market, is that there will be a few ones that will have a semblance of staying power, but there will be a larger part that won't be relevant anymore. People won't buy it, that when the hype is over, it dumps, it drops, they're not gonna recover. That's what makes Bitcoin interesting. That's what makes also other altcoins like Ethereum very interesting, because they have dumped in the past, but they have shown time and time again also that they've started to recover and go back higher than where it was before. Where are we now? So if you look at it now from a halving cycle perspective, the next one will be at 2024. So if you follow also the narrative, the last halving cycle was in 2020, and we also saw a lot of things happen that caused the markets to go down. If you try to follow also the entire story around that, we had COVID lockdowns around March 2020, which brought it down. Right after that, May, we started to see it push up once again. A year after, or almost 18 months after, we saw it start to go into its all-time high last November 2021. One thing that I want to submit to you, if you look at it from the highs of 2017 to the highs of 2021, if you follow what happened to 2017, it dropped from 19,000, 20,000 to 3,000. After that, it consolidated a bit. But while it was consolidating also, there were some movements upward. However, those movements upward were not enough to allow it to break past the all-time high. It only broke past the all-time high after the next halving cycle. Here's what I think how this could possibly play out. While we're moving towards the next halving cycle, which is around 2024, we're somewhere around the middle of it already. What's interesting to see is that there will be portions and there will be times when the market will also be oversold, which is fine from a technical analysis point of view, from a price movement point of view, and as it hits certain oversold levels. And there will be certain notions also, macroeconomic data or details that will cause people to start buying, especially when they feel it's cheap, especially when they feel it's a bit optimistic, and that will cause the market, Bitcoin, also to push up. So I do believe that way before the halving cycle will happen, or the next halving will happen, we could see push-ups, we could see it bounce back, and there would be also interesting upward movements where significant gains could be made as well. However, I do believe that the next possibility that we could go beyond the 69,000 mark is after the halving cycle. And what's interesting to watch also from all of this is that if you look at the entire narrative, we're still not yet out of the woods also from an entire macroeconomic perspective. The war is still there. We still have logistical supply problems. Inflation is still there. And the problem with the Fed raising rates is still there as well. Should this all finish at some point in 2023, because as what I've mentioned, inflation also would be lower because of the high base that we have right now, then it will just allow all of the cards to be stacked in place in preparation to the next halving, which will happen in 2024. So people have been saying that we're not going to follow the halving cycle anymore because the market cap is too big. There are institutions already involved. It's not as small as what it was a decade ago. However, until we actually see it not happen, until we actually see that the halving cycle doesn't have any effect on Bitcoin, past data has shown us that it's still valid, that it's still a valid narrative, that it's still something. If you are someone who believes in Bitcoin, follows the scarcity of Bitcoin, who looks at it also from a digital gold point of view, then the drops that we have right now may also follow or mirror it. Charts and price movements and price patterns, they all follow behavior and they follow emotions. What triggers the emotions of greed, what triggers the emotions of fear may be different. There may be different reasons and factors why people follow it. However, it's just a cycle. I've been in this long enough to know that the good ones, the ones that are game-changing, move up in cycles. They also move down in cycles. The ones that get crushed, the ones that don't go back, are the ones that don't have utility, are the ones that people don't use, are the ones that fail to become relevant years after. But the ones that are good bounce back and they go back higher than where they were before. Now, that being said, I want to submit this also. Do your research, study, analyze. You are under the concept that the halving cycle causes crypto or Bitcoin to go higher, and you're not a day trader, you're not a scalper, you're not someone who's doing leverage, you're just a spot investor. While it's bear, while it's low, while it's taking some time before it actually has a chance to go higher, you can use this as a time for you also to stack and accumulate, because when things get better, macroeconomic news get better, we're very, very close to the next halving, and there will be lesser Bitcoin that will be given out. When things turn bullish, you have two choices. Either you're the type of person who will buy it when it's low, when it's cheap, when there's uncertainty, or you will be the person who will buy it when there's no more uncertainty, but it's expensive, it's higher, it's bullish, it's going up. Both will work, but if you're the one that wants to buy it low, you're the ones that want to buy it cheaper, then I think there's merit taking the time to study and learning it right now while it's a bear market, while people are saying that it's crypto winter, because there's a lot of opportunity when things are down. So if you stayed up until the end, like, share, subscribe. Want to learn more about crypto, stocks, links down below. Written 5 books about the stock market. We have technical and fundamental courses also below. And also, if you want to trade and invest, we have different brokers and exchanges that you can check out down below as well. So that's it for now. Marvin Germo with Little Satoshi. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.